Oh, 2024. This thing is getting out of hand. And somebody said that, I didn't want Kong dead. Or maybe I must be switching sides. Let me tell you something. I want Kong to become an app. I'm the one that told you, hashtag no PlayStation 6. You know how we do it over here. Don't you ever confuse my intentions. Green. That's why I'm wearing green. Green. This is what it's about. This is Xbox Frontline. Green team. All day. Now, we got some stuff that's going on in the industry. Man, we're going to talk about that. And you know today's my favorite day of the week. On God and them, we're going to talk about these topics. Because I see a lot of people trying to avoid the issue. Nah, man. You ain't getting away like that, but I was about to slip, bucko. Peace and blessings, and welcome back to Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. Now, today would be a joyous day if it didn't come at the expense of individuals losing their livelihood. Now, this has become a problem in the industry. You saw countless companies like Embracer Group consolidating, eliminating EA, Activision Blizzard, Microsoft, just to name a few. Sony had numerous layoffs last year, some at the beginning of this year. And now they're having 8% layoff across all studios worldwide. And this has me saying, I don't know where the industry is going, because right now as an industry whole, we're seeing the brink. Like, I don't think we got a chance to understand how dire straits the industry was in when Atari fell. So that led to the big crash. So now we saw a lot of consolidation, a lot of closing for closures. And that doesn't bode well as us, as an industry. Okay? So everyone who's lost their jobs, I give my heartfelt condolences to that situation. Hopefully we can rebound. But how the economy is at the moment, things are looking really, really shaky. And never to make light of that situation, even though my channel, Xbox Frontline News, like, follow, and subscribe, yada, yada, yada. Even though this is a satire channel where I constantly say I want Kong dead, or I want Kong to become an app, Kong meaning Sony, for the transgressions of the past. That's the running gag, that's the running joke. But loss of livelihood is not a joke, is not a gag, and is not funny. What was lost today, and I'm taking a different take on it, opposed to what a lot of other people will do. Like right now, is na boo boo to a lot of other people, because when Microsoft had to lay off 1,900 people, It was a lot of doom and gloom and a lot of, stuff going on. And I've been saying that Sony hasn't been hitting their projections, haven't been hitting their margins. And then it came out again just recently that Sony was underperforming. They had sales, but they didn't have profit. And when you have sales and you don't have profit, then you have to look at different avenues to bring in revenue. I.e. them opening up the PlayStation VR 2 to the PC to drive sales of the hardware in hopes that it will fuel software sales. I think it's a futile effort, but a noble effort nonetheless, that the hardware itself gets a chance to live on. Now, I don't have a cure-all pill for Sony to fix exactly what they have wrong, because what they have wrong is systemic from the top down to the bottom. Where I can look at Microsoft and say, your problem is marketing. I can honestly say that your problem is marketing. Your problem is rushing games and not making AAA titles that meet and exceed the expectations of the marketplace. Whereas Sony, they took too many dips and turns and moves and shakes, and to be $1 billion company, they don't have that much margin of error. This is why I say hashtag no PlayStation 6. This is how we do it over here. This is the reason why I say that. I say that to say that the bumblings and fumblings over at Sony has led them down this path. The whole focus on AAA titles has led them down this path. The layoffs affect Insomniac, Naughty Dog, Guerrilla Games. Those are to name a few. It also affects the UK studio, and then it also affects Firesprite. But the UK studio in particular, this is why this is very important. That's a complete closure of the UK studio. Jim Ryan was just there a couple of days ago, weeks ago, and they're closing down that whole studio. That studio's primary focus was VR games, or the majority of their focus was the VR games. That's why you see them opening up the VR to the PC market. There's always a rhyme and reason to everything that's being done. Nothing is happenstance. But what's troubling is Sony's pivot to games of service. And now we're seeing a lot of these games of service being chopped. Now we found out with the terrible news of today that the Twisted Metal online service game has been canceled. That's troublesome. With Firesprite Studios getting hit one of the hardest, that's troublesome. Because if your direction is games of service and you are pulling, taking, yanking, deleting, for lack of a better word, positions that can benefit that's troublesome. That is a problem. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of you Xbox guys, including myself, that's going to be doing the console war stuff. We're going to be fighting them. And this is just a talking point. But the bigger thing is, does Sony reach the financial crisis where Apple comes in and takes them? Google throws their hat in. Because Apple Arcade is failing miserably. So you have things that are in play, and Apple does have Apple TV. Do they want the IPs so they can make good movies? They did do the Godzilla thing. I got to get a chance to see that. It's opportunity. There's blood in the water. Or does Microsoft buy them? And the ultimate haya. Does Microsoft buy Sony? Keep them intact. Allow them to make hardware. Keep the studios intact. Take the Sony PlayStation brand and make it Microsoft PlayStation. And do away with the Xbox brand, which will be crazy. Stranger things have happened. Because you got to say, what is the stronger global brand? That will be the ultimate FU to both fan bases. Not saying that'll happen, but I've seen stranger things. You may feel a melancholiness when I'm reporting this, because I get no glee in making this video at all. Like, I got no glee in making the video with the 1,900 people being let go from Microsoft, particularly the gaming division. Jobs in this economy is very hard to come by. And I just, pray that it wasn't a situation like how Bungie did. That was insidious, dirty, and nasty. But the bigger problem is Sony went and turned their backs on Japan. Canceled out the Japan studio. You don't remember when Jim was coming into power, where he consolidated Europe to make Europe his stronghold and Europe his fight? And then he canceled out when he came into power, got rid of the Japanese studio, Sony of Japan studio. That was a heavy hit. And they focused mainly on Europe. For this to hit Europe the hardest is a crazy blow. Because now Sony is a man without a country. Is the USA this last bastion for Sony? Are we looking at Sony at the Alamo? Or Sony circling the drain? Is Kong on his last legs? Are we seeing the end of a juggernaut? I always told you before, Rome is burning, and nothing took down the empire but themselves. Bad decisions, bad hardware choices, bad moves put this billion-dollar company on the brink. Right now, Sony has their back up against the wall. There will be no first-party games coming out this year. What is left in the chamber for Sony? These are hard questions that the consumer must ask themselves. What happens to your digital library? What happens to your digital self? I only have like 3 or 4 games over digitally with Sony. I never trusted their infrastructure. This leads to understanding why there was a lot of hacks and breaches over at Sony. The lack of funding took money away from certain areas, one is led to believe. I think them launching that PlayStation 5 Pro is the death knell of Kong. I think that is the last piece of under the television hardware that you get, aside from the handheld that'll be dockable. Aside from that, I believe that's their last stand completely. This is just a crazy Xbox front line, to be honest with you. Not nothing that I'm gleefully experiencing here. because I'm actually getting to a chance to see the prophecy that I set forth come to fruition. At least the next topic is a whole lot better. This is the king giving you harsh truths, but somebody got to do it, right? Because a lot of these dudes, I ain't gonna talk about it. All right, final topic. It's Game Pass Tuesday. But before we get to that, on our way to the road, this is the road to 10K. By the time of this video, we should be at 7K, and that's a hip hip hooray. We at 7K. But Lord Cognito donated this statue, and we're going to give it away at 10K to a member. And it's the Honey Trap by Gentle Giants, 1/4 statue, aka her name is Whisper. A beautiful statue. If you could see her attributes, I'm just saying, any guy could be the lucky guy. You understand what I'm saying? But this is Game Pass Drop Tuesday, and this is my favorite day of the week. So the first game we got dropping in Game Pass is a returning champion, is a Shark RPG open world man-eater. I highly recommend it. It's mad fun and it's incredible. And then we have Dead Island 2. Oh man, that, I'm not gonna lie, that's a AAA title. That's inside Game Pass this month. Dope game. And then we have Bluey the video game. I'm not gonna touch it, but maybe my grandson might like it. I might play it for my grandson. Shout out to Liam. Liam's gonna have some fun with this. But yeah, I'll play it for him. Hopefully he likes it. You know. So but those are the 3 games this week. Game Pass Drop Tuesday. This is a fun way to end off the segment. Hey, you know what I say. This is the part in the video when I ask you to like, follow, subscribe. I'm going to throw that logo right over there. And I'm going to tell you, try to play the Game Pass.